Oh, it wasn't never that cold. You didn't see your boy.
Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am sorry for my lateness, but it's 5:33 and we'll call us to order.
That's not too late.
Not too late.
Oh, there's Barb.
Let's see. So, and also, there's a few changes in the agenda. Nancy obviously is not here, so she's not going to do the roll call. I'll do that. And Virginia is going to be taking the mission moment. I think that's all until we get to the approvals. So roll call. Deborah,
Here,
you are here.
I am here.
Is that you? Are you reading anything interesting that you'd like to share?
You know, I actually listened to a book. It's Oprah Winfrey and somebody. It says, What Happened to You, I think. It's really interesting about trauma, what trauma does to brains. I had a book.
That's good. Dennis,
Ma'am,
are you here?
I am.
I'm glad to.
I am present.
Are you reading anything you'd like to share?
I don't know if you guys are interested. I'm reading a book about the Battle of Midway from the Japanese perspective by Jonathan Parshall, a guy named Tully. I can't remember his first name. And I'm also reading a book on different individual accounts from soldiers in the Continental Army.
Great. Nancy is not here. She's excused. I hope she's having fun where she is. Barbara, you're on mute also.
No, can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
Geez, I'm out. If she knows sign language, she could say something. Just get.
Okay, here I am. I'm reading, and I'm reading Harlem Shuffle by Carlson, I think it is. Or Whitehead.
White.
Yeah. Very good.
Thank you. Is Alice on the online where she?
Okay, I just got a message from Alice that she's sick, and she just texted me and she said, hold on, I'll read it to you. One sec. I'm sorry, I'm shuffling between programs here. Please let the board know I'm sick today and can't make the meeting.
Pretty short and sweet. Thank you. Douglas.
No.
I'm here.
Oh.
I'm here, nothing to share.
Okay, thank you. I'm also here, and actually I'm reading the same book I was reading the last time we gathered. It's kind of a large book. It's Facing the Mountain. I just finished it. And the next one I'll be reading is The Library Book by Susan Orleans. So I think that might have some pertinence to what we do here. That's it. I'd like to ask who else is here with us and see if any of you are intending to be voices at the meeting.
And he's chair of the Anchorage Library Foundation, and no, just here to make sure I know what's happening so that our three boards all work together well.
Good to see you, Kim.
Good to see you.
Hi, Beth Barnstrom, and I'm just here to observe.
Barnstrom.
Barnstrom with an F.
Mary Bolin, and I am interested in what all the recs is.
Okay. Is that A-N or E-N?
I
Guess wrong twice.
Sammy Graham.
Hi, Sam.
A very tan Sammy Graham.
I know, I hardly recognized you. And is there someone online that's a visitor? Can't see too well. Oh, that's Misty Rose.
Is there another one?
Who's
Is
the
that
other
Bob?
one?
Oh, no, that's Barb. Never mind.
Somebody.
Okay,
Yeah, we just have 3 people that are online right now.
so Misty Rose is staff. Serge,
Tyler Kingstrang, just a member of the community, love the library.
glad to hear it.
Nathan Wolf, same here. Just getting all my stuff, start people what's up.
Checked into your website. It's very interesting. Termination dust, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, Approval of agenda, I already sort of jumped the gun and said we're changing a few things. Does anybody have anything else they wish to change or add to the agenda? Board members? Do I hear a motion to approve that then?
I can do that.
Yes, you can. Thank you, Deb.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Okay, and have you all had a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting? And does anybody have anything they want to say other than make a motion to approve them? Give you a few minutes to read them if you have.
I'm gonna do that too.
I'll move to approve.
Yes.
Okay.
What?
Well, there was,
Did you have something? What'd you have?
it was just on board comments though, so I don't know if it was. But Dennis, actually, we were incorrect. He doesn't expire until 2024, so. Wasn't extended, he doesn't.
Dennis.
Yeah, I don't know why we had
expires.
that on there, but I looked at the old minutes and.
I'm sorry, I didn't even hear what you said.
Okay, she said that somewhere in here it talks about expiring board members and
Board
Dennis,
comments and questions.
Dennis actually, his seat expires 2024.
Oh, because that is wrong then.
Yeah, I don't know why we had that there, but.
I had it there because that's what I was told. So that was my mistake.
Okay.
I went and checked.
I thought there was, my mistake, Dennis. I thought that because you were filling an empty seat. Anyway, I must have misread the website or something.
What I've got is, it doesn't, he might feel, but it didn't expire until 2024. He's only been on one year, I think.
My experience
I'll
with
check
the
it again, but that's
website
what I-
might be different.
I think the website is different.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to look at it.
Okay, well, my apologies. Maybe somebody would like to accept as amended then.
Do you want to move as amended?
Yes,
Yes?
yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
I can second.
Deb? Deb and I are both busily being secretary here. I didn't do the land acknowledgement, which I would like to do now because I skipped right over it. I would like to acknowledge that we're gathering this evening on the traditional lands of the Dena'ina Athabascan people, who for more than 1,000 years have been and continue to be stewards of this land. So it is with gratefulness and respect that we recognize the contributions, innovations, and contemporary perspectives of the Evercook Inlet Dena'ina people. That takes us to a mission moment, Virginia.
Okay.
Would you like to kick us off?
So I was just going to talk about the process for requesting a reconsideration of material. And all of this information is actually available on the website. And so if you go to our website and you can find our list of different policies, and in there is the collection development policy. And so in the collection development policy, there's a lot of different information. It talks about the process we go through to select materials, that all of the acquisitions, for instance, are evaluated using standard library review source. We have a long list of different things that we consider when we're considering an item. And for instance, it says collection management includes assessment of community needs, establishment of policy and budget to support those needs, the selection, acquisition, and promotion of materials, and evaluation of the collection, its effectiveness. All of these things are considered, of course, for each item, and some items are selected because they are just for fun. Some items are more serious. There's a lot of different selectors involved, and no, let's see. There's a very good line in here that I wanted to point out. The presence of an item in the library does not indicate an endorsement of its content by the library. Library materials are not marked for or identified to show approval or disapproval of the contents, and access is not restricted beyond what is required to protect materials from theft or damage. The standards stated in this policy apply equally to all materials for children. The library believes that individuals may reject for themselves and their children, and only for their children, materials which they find unsuitable. Caregivers who wish to limit or restrict the use of the library by their children should personally oversee their selections. Then in the process of, let's see, submitting a request for reconsideration, again, the form is on the website and you just go to the website. You can download the form, you can fill it out, and you bring it into a location. It's important that people bring in these forms in person because in our day and age, we could have people requesting that articles be reconsidered, and they could be from outside of Anchorage, they could be outside of the state, they could be outside of the country. And we don't have the time or resources to look at each form and try and figure out if it has been submitted in good faith or if it's part of, a spam situation. So it's very important that somebody come in and personally give it to us because we serve Anchorage. We serve the interests of Anchorage. When a form is submitted, then first it is evaluated by our collections management coordinator, and that person takes into consideration all the different factors. We also normally have a committee that is involved, and that committee has we don't have as much of a committee right now, fell by the wayside a little bit during COVID, but we are going to bring that committee back. And so we will have, not only will this collections banner coordinator be part of the committee, but we'll have a group of people that are considering that. Then they will make a consideration and they will get back to the person who has submitted this form within 14 days. At that time, that individual then has another 14 days if they would wish to appeal. If they appeal, they send their appeal to the library director, who's me, and I will evaluate the decision and their request for appeal. I have 14 days to get back to them. I will send my decision back to them. Then at that point, if they still feel that more consideration should be given to their request, then they can submit this to the Library Advisory Board. The Library Advisory Board, and they have to do this within 14 days. Library Advisory Board then will look over the request, and the Library Advisory Board has 14 days to get back to the individual. And that is the final decision. I think that this process is good because we use, the money from the city to purchase these materials as well as donated money. And we don't purchase materials lightly. And so removing from the library also should be a well-considered process. I also wanted to point out that there is an appendix. Again, all this material is available on the website in the collection development policy. There's an appendix that goes through the Library Bill of Rights and other materials that come from the American Library Association, and that is who we turn to always for our guidance. And Article 1 of the Library Bill of Rights states, books and other libraries resources should be provided for the interest, information, and enlightenment of all people of the community the library serves. Materials should not be excluded because of the origin, background, or views of those contributing to their creation. And that is my presentation. Do you have any questions?
Thank you. Questions? I'll start with you.
In this process, the 14 days, we only meet once a month. Well, I got a couple of questions. One is, how often has this occurred where it's gone all the way up to the advisory board or all the way up to you within the past 3 or 4 years, if you know? And the two is, since we only meet once a month, how do we fit in that time frame?
I've only been here since October 17th, so I haven't participated in this process. I don't know about Judy, and I don't know about my.
It was usually, I think maybe I got one, but I don't think, I think it didn't. I don't think they actually officially You know, I did it. I think it stopped at, and I think since Nate's been here, I think there's only been one request and they, didn't move the book and that was agreeable to everyone. So.
Okay.
That's the one that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Dennis, I would just say, I would assume if or when we do have such a process, we could call a special meeting.
I know you've been on the board longer than I and most people here. Has that ever occurred?
I'm trying to remember how long I've been on this board. Seems like yesterday, maybe 8 years. It's never happened
Okay.
in that time frame. I'm pretty sure it has happened at some point, but not.
Not recall. Gotcha. Thank you.
Other questions from the,
Doug.
go ahead, Doug.
Thank you for your presentation, Virginia. So my question is, what if a book goes against municipal code or state statute? For instance, AS 11.41.455A or Muni 8.50.010.A. I mean, it seems pretty clear to me that we may have resources there that are breaking the law or code. Any
Could you
thoughts on that?
repeat those citations for me, for those of us?
You know what, I can type them into the chat box. Would that be helpful?
Thank you.
Actually,
Maybe.
Oh,
We would go through the same process. And we would probably consult legal.
I would like to, as a library advisory board member, I would like to have the specific book that we're talking about looked at by legal, because I do believe that we are breaking code personally, but I'm not an attorney. And I would think it would be wise to get some clarification on that before, we talk about the process for repealing or accepting, pieces in our collection. So I wrote a formal letter to the advisory board, and I just would personally like to have legal look at the particular book that we're talking about. And that's the book titled Let's Talk About It. And I personally believe that we're breaking statutes and codes. And I'm unclear, is that book currently in our collection? Is it available now? And who is that available to?
It is in the collection. It's in several collections around the state.
I saw it in
Part of our
Fairbanks
joint
and I saw it here in Anchorage, yeah. I know that book has been highly contested across the country. So it would be, again, I just like to formally request to have legal take a peek at that and get their 2 cents, please. Thank you.
So when you say legal, who are?
Oh, the legal department of the city.
They
The
look at all our
municipal
policies. City attorney looks at all our policies before we approve them anyway.
Yeah, she was included on the email.
any other discussion, comments?
Okay, so there's a committee. So how is the committee chosen? How are the members of the committee chosen?
The staff, different selectors.
Okay. How many people are on it?
Well, that's what I was saying. We used to have a committee. We are reforming the committee. So at the moment, there's nobody on the committee.
But how many how many do you want to be on the committee?
We probably had about 5 people on the go. It would come and go.
The policy says 3 librarians. I mean, or at least the reconsideration does. I read that, 3 librarians.
I'm sorry, that question. So
We're talking about.
were you talking about staff choosing the committee?
Yes, so we're talking, and that's, I apologize for that. The more of the collection development decisions will have committee involvement. That's part of what I would like to do. And then also we have the 3 staff members that are involved in the initial phase of the request for consideration, as Judy pointed out.
So to Deb's point, will staff choose other members outside of staff, or will it be Will the committee contain only staff?
That initial phase is with just internally.
Yeah.
Their
That's
collection
written
development
policy.
staff. We have different staff that purchase areas of subject areas. So they're all involved in the selection process. They've all been trained.
Any other questions, comments? Yes, Doug.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'd like to make a formal request to have the book titled Let's Talk About It reviewed by legal. So I'd like to make a formal movement for that. If I could get a second on that, I would appreciate it.
I'll second it.
Okay, so for discussion, I don't have a clue what the process for doing that would be, so who does? Would you know what the process? for doing
Well,
that?
normally, I believe that what we should do is go through the request for consideration process. And so that would be,
Why can't the lawyer look at it?
well, the lawyer can look at it, but we still go through this process.
Why don't we do both?
And I don't know what the lawyer would do the book as it stands right now, because they would just be looking at the city codes and the state codes, and they would look at the book. So I don't see that there's two different processes here. And when I talk about getting legal involved, I would refer, if somebody had a request for reconsideration based on those points, I would then go to the city attorney and say, these points have been raised. So if we want to go through that process, and if you want to fill out the form, that would be great. Because it's part of our policy, and they're going to ask me about the policy, and the policy was set by this organization.
Virginia, could I invite you to read the code and maybe reconsider that position?
Sure, I will look up into it.
I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the floor. Virginia's agreed to look at the code for reconsideration. Is that sufficient or
Barb has her hand up.
for the moment?
I don't, that's the formal request was to have legal look at the code and decide whether or not that particular piece of literature is breaking the law or not. I mean, I just like a legal opinion on it. I don't see how going through the formal process of whether or not we should have considered that book and in the current collection that it's in is the appropriate place for it. So I get we're trying to contain it. I'm trying to keep it in-house. I'm making a formal request to have legal outside of the Library Advisory Board take a peek at it, take a peek at the code, and give us an opinion. And these are recorded these are recorded meetings, and I just want to go on record as saying that I have serious concerns about us potentially doing things that are breaking the code.
Barb, did you have something?
Yes, I did. I'm curious, and I may have missed this, so I apologize if if I did miss this. Has the book, the person who came to you, Doug, has that person made an official request for reconsideration and filled out the paperwork asking?
Well, they have. They were supposed to be at the meeting tonight, and I just got a message from them, so they couldn't make it. So, I mean, they can make a formal request, but to be honest with you, they're pretty interested to see if we're breaking the law, and they want to know what liability
I understand
that the library has.
I'm asking you a question if you know if they've made the request.
I don't know for sure, but I don't believe they have, but I'm not 100% for sure. I was hoping they would be at the meeting tonight. I'm sad to see this, that they're not.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion? Go ahead, Barb.
I'm just sorry, Doug, your hand is still up. Unless you have another question.
So if there was a request, would you know?
I should know.
Okay, so probably they did not make.
I have not been.
Okay.
Took a
Or,
while for me to find out, but I think he probably let you know.
Oh, he would.
Yeah, he would let you. Yeah, I heard it. Haven't heard it.
all right, so they probably did not make a request, Doug, if Virginia doesn't know about it.
Okay. We have a motion, we have a second. We've had discussion. Any more discussion? Call the question.
I don't think there's any more discussion. So Virginia's going to take a look at the code and then get back with Doug? Is that what we just, is that what?
I'll take a look at code and I will report back to the library advisory board
Okay,
through the
there's
listserv.
There's a motion though.
Thank you.
One seconded.
Yeah, so
Does that satisfy your motion? It does, I'm happy with that.
Under Robert's rules, they would need to vote.
Yes.
All in favor of the motion that Virginia will look at the code and report back to the library advisory board?
That's not the motion.
The motion is
No,
to
that
take
is not,
it,
that is not the motion.
the motion is to take it to.
That's what I
legal.
thought. That's what I thought. Okay. Who's in favor of taking it to legal directly without waiting for the process?
Yeah, by skipping the process and not submitting the form, I don't know what legal will want to do, but I will find out.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm in favor.
Doug, Dennis,
Deborah.
Barb, sorry, Deborah. Barb? You're muted.
Oh, you're muted.
I apologize. I'm having trouble deciding my vote because Virginia, I don't know if you know this, but I don't know if that is in our, I know anybody as an individual could probably do that, but is that our role as a library advisory board member to be making a motion to take something to legal without having it gone through the proper channels that we have decided for reconsideration? I guess that's my question before I vote. I don't know what my role is in this particular situation as a member of the board.
Well, considering that it was the library advisory board that created this process, I do think that a library advisory board member probably should go through the process of submitting their request for reconsideration and follow the board's own stated process. Because the library advisory board is actually on this document that is on the website that describes the collection development policy that was set by the board. So honoring the collection development policy, I think, would be appropriate.
Well, Madam Chair, may I speak?
We're in the middle of a vote, but I guess Barb raised a question, so go ahead, Doug.
Well, I don't think it's a question on whether or not we should go through the process. The question is, are we breaking the law currently? Have we broke the law in the past? And if that's the case, I would think that the library advisory board would be interested in knowing that. And certainly the folks who are running the library would want to know that. I don't know why we would drag our feet on something like this when we can just get a legal opinion quickly and figure out where we're at and then go from there. That's my opinion on it, but it seems pretty clear to me that we're breaking the law by having that book available to anybody who's under 18 years of age. But again, I'm not an attorney, but I want to go on record as saying I'm very uncomfortable with not taking this book immediately to the experts who would, be able to untangle the situation and tell us where we sit legally. Doesn't seem like that difficult of a decision personally, but I understand there's a process there, but I don't understand how that pertains to this book. This is a hot topic right here. The Anchorage School District had an emergency meeting district-wide at 10 a.m. Friday. It's in the school board. It's an issue, and we're going to get caught up and tangled in this. And I'd like to see where we sit from a legal standpoint. I'm not asking for the book to be pulled. I'm just saying, with the decisions that have been made in the past, are we breaking the law? And I feel like maybe we are.
Barb?
Well, as I understand it, no student at the Anchorage School District is able to check out that book. It's just for staff use only. Just to clarify.
That's not my understanding. That's not my understanding. I think the Polaris, that book was in circulation.
Supported. I think I'm going to, I think we need to go through the process. I think somebody needs to make the reconsideration for the book. I think that's our due diligence. You know, if there's a legal, you know, a city attorney that wants to look at that, you've sent the email to them. So I'm going to say nay.
I'll join Barbara in saying nay for some of the same reasons that Doug raises, actually. Because it's a hot topic and because we have a board-approved process that was consideration of thought, makes sense to me to go through the process. I guess all I'd say is we actually have 3 yeas and 2 nays. Goes here, so that's the vote. I'll just say that while this undefined process of checking with the lawyer is occurring, I really encourage the person who first raised the issue to this board through Doug, actually start the process, go through the process, because I'm not a lawyer either, but I suspect that the municipal lawyer will want to look at our process and want to examine the issues around a process that we already have in place. So I'm guessing could be a simultaneous process. So the vote is 3 to do, the ayes have it. Anything else for Virginia for her mission moment? Okay then. I believe all non-board members here said that they were not interested in being people to be heard at this meeting, so is that correct? So we have no people to be heard. Okay. Moving to the director's report.
Well, I was going to say, oh, the director's report is right here. Sorry, you've already received it. So if you have any questions about the director's report, please jump in. And the only other thing I was going to add was bringing in more people in our collection development process and expanding that committee. So we already talked about.
I have one, the Diamond Center one.
Yes.
What date do you think it's going to be?
We thought we had it done. It's, I think we're waiting on the data now. So it's the data drop, it's the process of getting everything hooked up. So we've got the locker there. It's been wrapped and
It looks
like
good. It was very exciting.
It's like ready to go almost.
it's almost ready to go. It just needs to have that, internet connection so that it works.
Internet.
Because people need a little, it's remote, so they have to be able to put in their library card.
Yeah.
And then the door pops open, they can get their holds. Cool, but it'll be very pretty when it's all ready to go.
It's really cool. It's going to take a little while.
Well, I'm always concerned with some of the stuff remote, like we have cold snaps, is it going to hold?
It's inside.
It's inside.
Oh, yeah, it's
We put it
inside.
inside the diamond this time.
Yes.
It's probably a good idea.
And there's security guards there. So
That's a good thing.
security guards in the
Oh,
diamonds.
right, okay.
So it'll be a lot better than where it was.
And I guess one other thing I will bring up, we have plans to have a mobile library. We had.
I remember that too. There was
Yeah,
like a van and everything.
Beautiful.
I was waiting to hear about the van, but
We do love plans.
We do love
the
plans.
plans are still there.
There's no van to be had.
But there's a plan.
There's a plan, yes.
For a van.
And yes, and the materials, we are able to circulate the materials that were purchased to go in the van, but the van itself, there's no van. There's not going to be a van anytime soon. That is a larger issue.
Mhm.
So,
Is it a funding issue or a
no, it's
It's
a
microchip.
supply? Oh, supply. Gotcha.
But I did call Ralph Seekins of Seekins Ford in Fairbanks. He called me back and he said, I will let you know tomorrow. I will see if I can find one tomorrow. If I can find one, sometimes you just have to, I said, And he said, well, you know, they can't find them on soap. And I said, but these are for little library children and we go out and we take the books. Don't you want to get one for us versus an old company? He's like, I'll see what I can do, see if I can find one. It's gotta be one somewhere.
Finally, I would like to remind everyone that the Beyond the Stacks Library fundraiser is coming up on April 1st. And Mr. White Keys is the performer, so that should be
So
fun. And
What's his first name?
Mr. White Keys.
Mr.
Awesome. You've never seen Mr. White Keys? Oh, gosh, I didn't even know he was still doing anything.
He's a great birder, right?
And if anyone is interested, I believe that other than a quick Google search of, Beyond the Stacks, I think you could also go to the Friends website.
Librarychampion.com.
Librarychampion.com. Thank you. And that's what I have.
That's your report,
That's my report,
madam?
other than the written report.
Okay.
So do we have a lot more kids? It's spring break, yes?
Yes, there, the Youth Services Department has been hopping,
Good.
quite busy.
It's warm in here. It's cold out there.
Yes.
Not to focus on the cold, I'm sorry.
That's good to know. Well, we are to board comments. Again, setting records for brevity here. I have a comment.
Okay.
Oh, the downtown libraries.
I am really glad that we had the beginnings of this discussion at this table. I think, as Doug pointed out, this is a hot topic. I think it's a hot topic that is much broader than us and much broader than this town and much broader than the state. And I think it's important to have a community platform to discuss these issues. I'm totally, as chair and as human being, I'm very willing to talk about things that bother us on either side of any issue. So I'd encourage us to continue to engage with this. Like I said, I voted against the motion because maybe because it's my background, I think processes are put in place to not to disguise or not be transparent, but to actually allow people to communicate with each other on things that bother us. So that's why I am prioritizing process over legal. And I just wanted to say I appreciate everybody who took part in this discussion. I expect there'll be more. Anybody else?
Yes. Are you familiar with the book? Have you read it?
Doug, are you making noise?
Yeah, he had it up, but now he's muted.
Okay.
No, I mean, it's interesting. I expect a lot of people that are talking about this haven't read it, and I have not.
And then are you familiar with the Municipal Code and the state code?
Well, that's why I asked Doug to repeat those
The codes.
I believe he circulated some excerpts from it, but I don't think it was the whole one. So it's not-
From the book or the code?
No, the code,
From,
in an email he sent yesterday or something. Why do you ask?
I just wasn't clear on that.
Oh, yeah. So did the chat bring up those numbers?
Yes. It's AS 11.41.4558.
A as an apple?
A is an apple, in parentheses, little a.
Oh.
Subparagraph A.
And then Muni 8.50.010.8. capital A,
Sorry, do it again, 8.50.
0.010 point, capital A.
Lovely, okay, thanks.
No, I see it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, well, if there is no more discussion, seeing none, we're adjourned.
Everybody but eat
Holy
food.
buckets.
This is pretty impressive. Any board meeting I've been to has not gotten over this quickly.
Because you were here and we wanted to impress you.
Yeah. I'm easily impressed.
Well, Doug, tell your friend, I hope he's better. Doug, I hope your friend's better.
I appreciate it. Actually, they removed his leg and his right hip and half of his pelvic bone.
Oh, Lord, my.
He's got a long road to go. It's good to spend some time with him. He's a former teacher.
Remember our prayers.
Oh, yeah, really sorry about that.
Yeah, well, he's alive, so we're happy about that.
There were no chances down stacked on.
Wow. Was that from an accident? Had to be.
Yes, cancer.
Oh, cancer.
Yeah.
I hate cancer. I hate the word. I hate everything about it. Guys, serious. I think we have enough food for everyone. If you guys would like to eat a little something here.
Oh, Steve, Christie,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. Do you have to make a move to end the meeting?
Somebody has to move to adjourn the meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, you just adjourned.
Another boards I'm in.
I'll make a move, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I
I'll
can second. Oh, Barb can second. I've seconded enough.
I think every board meeting that I've been to, other than this one, is so happy to adjourn that they.
But they never just don't.
So I apologize for not asking for the motion.
It might be the longest.
I move to adjourn. I move to officially
Please,
adjourn.
please go eat.
All right.
I will eat. I'm hungry. I've been working all day.
Good night, everybody.
Where to?
Night, night. Sammy, you're not gonna eat?
Yep, good night.
Good night, Doug.
What?
Okay, this is gonna be interesting.
It's a lot interesting.